everybody, I'm Mango Thunderslice, and just another drive today, another beautiful open freeway commute to Sacramento. The sky is amazing. With the lack of air travel, it's amazing how nice the sky is. Just pure Oregon puffy clouds. I think I saw 2 aerosol spraying trails yesterday, or the traces thereof, but otherwise the sky has been totally clear of all air traffic, civilian, military, or otherwise. Anyway, this video is called Why I'm Rooting for the Coronavirus, and yes, it's tongue-in-cheek. I'm not actually hoping that anybody suffers and or passes away from this physical plane because of the coronavirus. But I have to be grateful for certain aspects of what's happened. The aforementioned, I love the beautiful sky, I love the open freeways. I understand it comes at a heavy cost, and I'm not, totally insensitive to that. But at the same time, we're realizing that a lot of our, hustle and bustle is just moving around for our own entertainment or basically for the sake of convention. A lot of things can be done online that don't necessarily need to be done in person. The universities aren't giving any discount in the tuition to the students, but they're still offering the classes, but now they don't have the sports games and whatnot. It's just interesting, people to watch Trump and his whole mobilization of the federal government and the bickering of all these different, Democratic operatives, and Joe Biden just fading, ignominiously into the sunset. And it's it's just funny, no matter what the man does, I think if Trump said, I'm in favor of breathing, they'd all just hold their breaths and asphyxiate and just to spite him, because the contrarian aspect is getting really ridiculous. A certain family member just shared around an article from The Atlantic yesterday, and it was, here's how the COVID-19 pandemic will play out. And it was basically for this kind of very assumptive headline, and very assumptive in its premise as well. And it goes on to say how 2.2 million people are going to be dead by the end of summer. Not saying would, but saying will. And then says, that's what the worst case scenario, which will happen unless 4 things happen. It's like, wow, I didn't realize I was speaking to the great and powerful Oz, who knows all of the, time, space, and they knew that Hillary Clinton was going to be the president, and now they know that COVID-19 is going to kill 2 million people. I'm so tired of worst case scenarios and whatnot, and people, they love to try and put me in a box and say, you don't have credentials in these fields, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Midwits and their degrees, they're worshipful of their degrees, but the degrees themselves confer nothing except extrinsic relative value to other people. It does not confer any actual objective, absolute level of knowledge. That being said, I do defer to the actual experts like, French, Raoul Didier, and he's basically supposedly way above Dr. Anthony Fauci, and he's been prescribing chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine to patients in the early stages of coronavirus, and he says there's a 90% success rate. What's interesting is the French government, took chloroquine off the shelves. It's been on the shelves for 50 years, as an anti-malaria medication. It costs 10 cents a pill. And this is the one that Trump's been, kind of talking about. And again, shows that he is not the friend of Big Pharma ultimately. He's more the friend of the people than he is to Big Pharma. You want to rep for Big Pharma? Go to the DNC, because all of them are doing everything in their power to enter us into a medical fascist state under the premise of Medicare for all. It's important to recognize that the climate scam, right, and the medical scam are the 2 primary driving forces for the global, international communist state and the whole ideology that accompanies it. And the climate thing, if it is, it keeps getting revealed year after year after year as a total scam. The climate is totally within its normal variation. If anything, if we look at the last 25 years, it's pretty much been stable. And, if we look at the sun as a leading indicator, then we're likely to see cooling. But anyway, that it listed on Americans' priorities, climate change is the last one, which is why Washington Governor Jay Inslee and Tom Steyer, right, they ended up with nothing. All these people who bet everything on the climate get nothing because it's not actually happening. And if you try and sell people a doomsday scenario that involves the world being a few degrees warmer on average, it just doesn't even sound apocalyptic. Even taking it to its extreme, right? Oh, there's going to be a few feet of sea level rise. There's been no outsized sea level rise, the same rate it's been for the last 11,000 years. But people will believe whatever the media tells them. It is amazing. And so people, again, who had no idea, what COVID-19 was a few months ago are now pretending like they're total experts. And, I'm not an expert. I've made statements about the structure of the endocannabinoid system which are accurate. And, I haven't provided any links, but if you Google cytokine storm syndrome and cannabis and the endocannabinoid system and, do some reading about cytokines and what the function of the endocannabinoid system is, the body is much more resilient than we've been taught, right? We're taught germ theory, that we're all just a bunch of cells, we're material beings, and we're just a mass of cells. And so these infectious diseases, basically, as soon as they touch us, we're subject to the mechanistic reality of the virus. But there's so many more variables in play, and it's those variables that once ignored leads to the horrors of the vaccine program, that we are making so many assumptions about how the body works, and most of them are complete nonsense. They're bullshit. The assumption about the aluminum levels in vaccines, for example, that they're safe and effective. There's no evidence in the world to suggest that they're safe and effective, none whatsoever. And there's plenty of evidence that it is harmful. And Dr. Christopher Exley, a British aluminum ecotoxicologist, basically has come out and done actual autopsy studies of autistic brains, brains of autistic people. And they found that the aluminum was just off the charts, comparable with people with dementia in their 70s and 80s. And so, but they're in their teenage years. So how does all this aluminum, how are all these heavy metals getting into the body? How are we poisoning everybody at such a young age? Well, it's a very simple answer to the question if you just open your eyes. It's the vaccination program. And, we have many other sources and vectors of toxicity into our bodies, and these weaken us as a species. And it doesn't matter if we gain immunity to measles for a few years, because we've now compromised our immune system on such a basic functioning level that it's all a Pyrrhic victory, right? The costs are outweighing the benefits to a massive degree. And so here we are on the cusp of this COVID-19, not the cusp, but we're in the full-on, brunt of the COVID-19 pandemic. And people are just crying and begging and wailing for a vaccine and just hoping and praying to big pharma, like, the second coming of Christ to come and take them away into vaccine rapture. But no one is talking about how to strengthen the immune. Actually, a lot of people are talking about it. No one in the media is talking about how to strengthen the immune system. And even the people who are hip to it, they're kind of very, they are limited in their knowledge and imagination as well. Zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, these are all great. But there is a whole universe, my brothers. There is a whole world, my sisters, of different plants, herbs, medicinal mushrooms, a whole different range of compounds that we've discovered on our journey on this planet that are complementary to our body systems, and everything can be healed, everything except for death. But death is not a sickness. Death is an inevitable part of this world. But the quest is not to end death. The quest is to make death in its proper place, where people live good and happy lives, and they are full of joy and power and excellence and accomplishment and synergy and symbiosis. And yes, some conflict, yes, some competition, yes, some combat, but ultimately all that needs to be in its proper place, because it's okay to do violence if it's righteous, and that's not an endorsement of any particular action. Even the basis of the state is based on that and the basis of justice, right? And I'm just rambling, but again, it's a wide open drive, and there's a lot of people spewing a lot of nonsense. So I figure if they're going to spew their nonsense on the television, Rachel Madcow is going to be paid $7 million a year to just be the world's most prolific conspiracy theorist. Then I might as well get my 100 or so views on the algorithmic blacklist here on YouTube. But anyway, why I'm rooting for the COVID-19 virus is because this species needs evolutionary pressure. It simply does. People need to take it seriously, that it is not just about, being a vegetarian, to take stock of your health and to be resilient, right? It is literally a life or death scenario. And we have lived in this comfy little bubble, of massive credit inflation. And now, the coronavirus has served as the pin to prick the bubble. And so this is the real issue. But more than ever, your health will be a central part of any, resilience campaign. Getting stock of your finances, getting stock of your food supply, getting stock of your water supply, making sure you're in a social environment that doesn't see you as an enemy, right? And just making sure that you are prepared for all scenarios, the best of cases and the worst of cases. And for years we've been called preppers, and now all the neoliberals are basically prepping with us, and again, they don't see the irony of all at all. And people sharing around CNN articles, like another person in my immediate family. I'm not on Facebook, but Space Panther again is still on Facebook, so I just hear these things and I'm just like, wow, I didn't realize people were that stupid. But what are you gonna do? It's been a story of my life. But fact-checking Trump on his statements about the coronavirus. It's amazing how the masters of time and space, are also masters of all the unknown as soon as it comes out and it serves to go against Trump, right? They know when the coronavirus will play out. They know how many will die. They know everything about this novel virus that, nobody even knew about 3 months ago. But, I have to just vent a little bit and laugh about it, because ultimately we will get through this, but the danger is that people freak out so much that they end up giving the government, powers that we will not be able to get back in the modality of the Patriot Act after 9/11. This is bigger than 9/11. 9/11 didn't lead to a lockdown of billions of people in India and China. 9/11 didn't lead to, thousands of people dying in their homes in Italy. I mean, this is pretty intense. And the coronavirus is a real thing. It's not a hoax, and Trump never called it a hoax. And the people who are saying that it's 5G, again, 5G will weaken the system. It will socially and energetically and physically condition the people on a mass scale, but it is not the cause of this, all right? We've got breakouts in South Africa. We've got breakouts literally all over the world, all right? So let's keep our conspiracies in their proper lanes, and just embrace the data and the evidence as it comes out, and not try and shoehorn everything into a particular box. And again, if the young show no symptoms and they will gain lifetime immunity, again, they make statements about how long the immunity lasts, but they don't really know. But the fact is that if you get the actual measles as a kid, then you have lifetime immunity to measles. Vaccine immunity is not the same as natural immunity. And even if the coronavirus mutates, this novel hybrid, genus or form of virus will, the young will have immunity to it, and that is going to be their strongest asset. But, and I say this as, with one, under 2-year-old daughter and another daughter soon to be born. I'll take the chances with the actual virus, but I won't take my chances with the police state. I'm not willing to trade anything for freedom. And it's, I don't care how many, liberals are scared of the coronavirus, something that, they never even knew existed. And, just a few months ago, the same people who would never really take stock of their health beyond just, whatever the in vogue fad Dr. Oz supplement or, keto diet looks at. Just an example of people just getting to eat, bacon and butter and calling it a diet, but it's funny. These same boomers that are so unhealthy on any given day now proclaim to be medical experts and chastise people for not, staying indoors and being afraid and accepting medical tyranny whenever it asks for everything it needs, right? So they're trying to suspend habeas corpus right now, and they're trying to do it. It may not even be attached to the coronavirus bill, but they're trying to take advantage of the fear, and we have to resist it. And there are steps to be taken, but also losing the fear and taking proactive action is part of that. And whether you have lost income as a result of this, or you're far removed and just watching this with wild-eyed gaze from afar, everyone is affected by this, and it's going to affect all of us, especially as the world economy and the credit bubble pops and they hyperinflate the currencies even more to paper their way out of it. Oh, Jesus. And yeah. Anyway, people are crazy, man. Just gotta stay safe. I'll talk to you guys later. Much love. Peace.